Hey guys, let's get right into the behind the scenes on how I got this beauty portrait done in the studio session. The goal of this shoot that I'm showing today was to update Christine's portfolio. Christine is a Montreal makeup artist that I worked with previously on other shoots. Together, we had a chance to work also with the beautiful Agnes Neka. You can find all of her socials below. Christine also brought some really cool accessories, so we had to highlight those in the shoot as well as the subject. So for the lighting, which is probably why you're here, first the background light. It's actually pretty simple today, as usual. It's a Godox 8300 Pro pointed directly at the nude color background. The 8300 Pro was sitting on the rolling light stand for flexibility. The rolling stand is actually great for just adjustments and just also flexibility. I can move the light everywhere I want without lifting anything, which is a pretty big energy saver if ever you're spending the entire day in the studio. So moving from the back to forward is the second light with, of course, the main light. Here I use a Godox 8400 Pro with the AC400. I spoke about this combo in a previous video, but the AC400 allows the 8400 Pro not to rely on batteries, and this is great if you're a modeling light fiend like myself. I absolutely love the flexibility of selecting either battery or AC power, and ever since I bought my AC400 from StrobePro, it's actually a great Canadian Godox retailer, I've noticed that I've been using it more and more for my studio shoots. I guess it gives me peace of mind because I don't have to think about charging batteries or having to plan everything in advance. I can just show up. Peace of mind was actually never so cheap. Next is fill light. Something you'll notice that I did not do and I typically do is use a reflector, but here I did use another Godox 8400 Pro, and I'll tell you why in a few moments. So the setup is a classic clamshell setup with a 63-inch strip box. I didn't have anything smaller. Lighting with a strip box for fill versus a reflector allows, in my opinion, for better control of the light, plus it also prevents color contamination, which can occur with white or silver reflectors. So whenever I'm using one of these, this is a reflector, which is tucked inside, I've noticed some green hues coming out of the white and silver reflector. Doesn't matter what brand they are, it just always feels that way. They may be useful in a pinch, and actually I still use them for headshots, or a place where exacting colors are not so critical. But for beauty portraits, accuracy is important when the light is actually the main source of light to actually create a lot of fill. So keep that in mind if you want to try this at home. You can still get it done with a reflector, absolutely, but this is just me being very difficult. The 8400 Pro is supported with an YvensB boom arm and is also sitting on a rolling stand like the previous light for flexibility and adjustment. Pro tip: if ever you're also using a boom arm like myself to create the fill with actually an actual strip box, or it doesn't matter if you boom it, just make sure you use a sandbag to secure the arm. I call sandbags inexpensive gear insurance for a reason. They'll just save your light from falling, which is critical. And lastly, the VFlat from VFlat World. So this came super handy as I was noticing something bothering me during the initial shots. The really wide beam of the Godox 8300 Pro was actually hitting Agnes on the left side, left side of the face, actually the left side. And in order to remove that, I had either to flag the light, which again would require another stand, or add a V-flat. In this case, I opted for a V-flat for the also additional benefit of the contrast, as you can see from these two pictures. Whenever I found everything to my liking and my lights were placed correctly, I start measuring. I measured everything with the Lumu power attached to an old iPhone 6. The settings in this case was 1/200th for the shutter, f11 for the aperture, and ISO 100 for the ISO. The camera for this beauty portrait session was a Sony a7R III, and attached to the Sony is the Tamron 70-180, which is this lens, which I've come to absolutely adore. This lens, the 70-180, is quick, it's sharp, it's light, and costs half as much as the Sony G Master version. It's a no-brainer if you ask me. Again, if you're looking for a telephoto zoom lens, this might be it. The setup was changed slightly afterwards for other sets of pictures. The only difference is that I moved the Godox 8300 Pro behind the subject and also flipped the V-flat to white since I did not need as much contrast as the previous set. I spoke about color contamination before, and you might call me out on this one, but in this case, because it's not affecting directly the subject, the effect of the VFlat being white is really minimal in this case because there's no light going directly at it. And also the big benefit of the clamshell setup is the flexibility. And it also allowed us for 3 setups where the light adjustments was very slight. I only had to move a couple of things and we were able to roll. The only thing I had to really change was the actual background. And if you're curious about any of the gear I mentioned in this video, you'll find affiliate links to them in the description below to StrobePro, Adorama, and Amazon. And if you're Canadian, I highly recommend going to StrobePro as you'll avoid any duties and taxes you might get from buying from Adorama or even potentially Amazon. To back it up, most products come with a warranty and shipping is free over $99. And to boot, they're really nice people. So click below in the description to any of the listed gear to learn more. And if you're there, get yourself one of those rolling stands. Again, I'm gushing over them because they're really a game changer in the studio. So do enjoy them. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please thumbs up if you liked it and sub if you loved it. This has been YvensB, Montreal advertising and portrait photographer, wishing you good luck and together, let's light the world. Cheers.